What would you do if you found undeniable proof that the woman you loved had been living a lie, not just for years, but from before you ever even met? The night everything broke was a Tuesday, 2 a.m., the glow of her phone screen illuminating the dark bedroom. She was asleep, or so I thought. A notification flashed, a name I didn't recognize, and a photo. A photo of her laughing, intimately close with another man. My blood ran cold, but it wasn't the photo itself that shattered me. It was the date stamp, a date that predated our first date, our entire history. The mystery wasn't just about her infidelity. No, it was about the foundation of our relationship, a house built on sand about to crumble. If you genuinely enjoy our stories, please subscribe to the channel. Tell us where you're from and what time it is right now. It's always fascinating to know how far our story flows. My name is David. For 10 years, I believed I had the perfect life with Sarah. We lived in a beautiful brownstone in Brooklyn. It's just off Montague Street, a place we'd painstakingly renovated together. She was a marketing executive, I was an architect. Our lives were intertwined, a tapestry of shared dreams and quiet routines. But that photo, that single, damning image, ripped through the fabric of my reality. It wasn't just a betrayal. It was a historical revision. The man in the photo, a smug-looking guy with a receding hairline, was clearly more than just a friend. The way her head rested on his shoulder, the easy intimacy, the humiliation was a physical weight pressing down on my chest. Every memory, every tender moment, now felt tainted, a performance. I started seeing things differently. Her late nights at work, the sudden business trips to Miami, the way she'd guard her phone like it held state secrets. It wasn't just paranoia, it was a pattern emerging from the shadows of my ignorance. I remembered a time, about 5 years into our marriage, when she'd been unusually cold. She'd brushed it off as stress from a big project. But now, a chilling possibility began to form. Was this an ongoing affair, or a ghost from her past that never left? The strange behavior became glaring. She'd spend hours in the bathroom, phone in hand, the water running to mask her hushed conversations. Receipts for expensive dinners at places I'd never been, tucked away in her purse. One evening, I saw a text pop up on her smartwatch while she was showering. Can't wait for Dallas next month, my love. Dallas. She hadn't mentioned a business trip to Dallas. My heart pounded, a frantic drum against my ribs. I knew then, with a sickening certainty, that the photo wasn't an isolated incident. This was her life, a parallel existence I knew nothing about. I started my slow, agonizing discovery. I found a burner phone hidden in her gym bag, a cheap prepaid device. The call logs were sparse, but the texts were explicit, detailing rendezvous, pet names, and plans. The man from the photo, Mark, was still very much in her life. He had a routine, a secret language. She'd become a master manipulator, weaving intricate lies, her eyes never betraying a flicker of guilt. She'd gaslight me, making me feel crazy for even questioning her. "You're being paranoid, David. I'm just busy." Her voice, once a comfort, now grated on my nerves. She was untouchable, or so she thought. I felt myself breaking down emotionally. The man I was, the trusting, loving husband, was dissolving into a shell of suspicion and pain. I'd sit in our living room, staring at the skyline of Manhattan from our window, feeling utterly alone. Betrayal was a poison seeping into every corner of my soul. But beneath the despair, a cold, hard resolve began to form. I wouldn't just leave. I wouldn't just divorce her. She had stolen my past, my present, and nearly my future. I would take everything from her. Secretly, meticulously, I began to gather proof. I hired a private investigator, a discreet woman named Alina. She tracked Sarah's movements, documented her trips to Dallas, her stays at the Omni Dallas Hotel, her meetings with Mark at a quiet bar on McKinney Avenue. I installed spyware on her laptop, capturing emails, financial transactions, and more damning photos. I learned about their shared history, how they'd dated in college, how she'd left him for me, only to rekindle their affair years later. The depth of her deception was staggering. With the evidence mounting, I began to set my traps. Legal traps, social traps. I consulted with the sharpest divorce attorney in New York. We discussed asset division, alimony, and the legal ramifications of adultery in New York State. I started subtly shifting assets, ensuring my financial future was secure. While hers became increasingly precarious, I leaked anonymous tips to a few key people in her professional network, just enough to plant seeds of doubt. I wanted her world to unravel, piece by piece, just as mine had. The public exposure happened on a crisp autumn morning. The divorce papers were served at her office, a public spectacle that sent whispers through her department. Simultaneously, the evidence of her affair found its way to the board. The photos, the emails. The detailed reports from Alina, it painted a picture of a woman who was not only unfaithful, but also reckless and untrustworthy. The fallout was immediate and brutal. She was suspended, then fired. Her reputation, once pristine, was in tatters. The courtroom in downtown Manhattan was cold, sterile. Sarah sat across from me, her face pale, her arrogance replaced by a hollow despair. The judge, a stern woman with no patience for deceit, listened impassively as my attorney laid out the case. The evidence was overwhelming. The premarital affair, the ongoing infidelity, the financial impropriety, it all painted a picture of a calculated betrayal. The verdict was swift and decisive. She lost everything, the brownstone, a significant portion of her assets, and any claim to alimony. Her career was over, her social standing destroyed. Mark, the smug affair partner, vanished, leaving her to face the consequences alone. I saw her once more, months later, walking alone down a desolate street in Queens. Her once vibrant clothes now faded, her shoulders slumped. She didn't see me. She was just another face in the crowd, a ghost of the woman I once knew. A woman who had built her life on a lie and watched it all crumble. The silence that followed was deafening, a quiet, haunting echo of a life that never truly was.